you're 7'5"?
I said 8.
How did you come to that value judgment?
When I was being consistently shamed when I was gang stalked on r/fat people hate in 2015. Oh, what was the energy about me being a mother, bro?
The other cheek.
If I believed
he would turn the other cheek.
Love me as one of God's children.
Yes.
He would have known that it's my journey and my life.
But he would know you're fat too, whether he loves you or not.
And you know what?
Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Today, we are diving into the chaotic world of the Whatever podcast. And honestly, this might be the most delusional clip we've covered yet. We've got Andrew Wilson sitting across from a panel that seems to have completely abandoned reality. It starts with a simple question. Rate your looks on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, while Andrew gives a brutally honest mathematical assessment of why he's a 4, citing his age, his health, and his personality, the women across from him decided that self-love is a valid substitute for a mirror. One guest in particular claims she's a Misty 10 purely because she decided it to be true. Watching Andrew try to map her subjective vibes onto actual human logic is like watching a car crash in slow motion. Grab your popcorn because the shrill harpies are out in full force today. Without any further delay, let's get into it.
Everyone to rate their looks on a scale of 1 to 10. Their looks, physical looks, scale 1 to 10. We'll start with you. We'll go around the table. Go ahead.
8.
So 8.5.
8.5.
I'm a 10.
7.
8.
6.5.
I'd say 7.5, 8, 4.
That's lower than last time. Yeah. I used to say 6. I'm a 5.
In front of all these beautiful women, how could I ever not humble myself down to a 4, really?
Proud of you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Took guts.
I'm a 5. I give myself a 5. So wait, 8.5, 10, 7? 8? Okay. All right.
Brian, you rated yourself lower than usual.
Yeah, I've been getting a little chubby.
6.5.
See, now that's humble.
Yeah, that's humility.
That's
right there.
humble. That's humility. Right? That's the thing that's usually harder for men to do. Just say it. Just point it out.
I've noticed a pattern here. I think men tend to fairly accurately self-assess their own level of physical attractiveness, whereas
I've heard
women
men
not so
have
much.
more self-esteem issues than women do.
What's that?
I've heard men have more self-esteem issues than women do.
I feel like I disagree a little.
Why would you say that?
And I also heard that they're also more emotional.
Are they?
Who have you heard these things
Yeah, because,
from?
well, I mean, you guys will act based off pride, and that is going to be like an emotion thing, not necessarily logic.
Okay.
Do you think men or women have more cosmetic surgery?
I think probably women.
Yeah, probably women. Do you think that that's because they have way more self-esteem than men?
I don't
point.
think that necessarily what I'm talking about is the same thing. I just mean
Well, I think it is.
Symmetric.
Well, for instance, you just rated yourself a 4, right?
Yeah.
And maybe people may not agree with you, and I just rated myself a 10, and people may not agree with me, right? But we're just talking about our self-esteem. My self-esteem is clearly higher than yours.
No, I'm not sure that we are. I think that what we're talking about is a value judgment, and I think that I'm making a way better value judgment than the value judgment that you're making. So the value judgment that I'm making is this. I'm old, and I'm married, and I'm out of shape, and I smoke, right? And I'm not a very pleasant person to be around for long periods of time, especially for the opposite sex. Like, I know all of these things about myself. So my value judgment overall is a 4. Tell me the value judgment of how you came to a 10.
Oh, yeah. I just think that in general, we should think that we are great.
Right. So you just decided it there's no value judgment there. You just decided it.
Yeah, he asked me what I would rate myself, and because it's my opinion about myself,
just looks.
It took a long time for me to love myself, and I do now. And so, yeah, I think that, like, you know, I'm a Misty 10.
I have a question for you. Wait, hold on, just one sec. Do you think
you're 7'5"?
I said 8.
Oh,
yeah, get it right.
How
Andrew.
did you
get it right?
How did you come to that value judgment?
Because I don't put within my value within a rigidity. That's not the right word. Rigidity. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't put that within that rigidity of certain, I guess,
value judgments.
More subjective opinions about what value is. Because I know my value, I know my worth, and I know my beauty that I hold within myself for myself, and that is appreciated by other people. Because at the end of the day, beauty is subjective, and it is absolutely within my right to hold myself to a higher value and how I conduct myself in the world around me.
Yeah, but when you're talking about the value judgment here, my wife, I'm sure that she has a way higher value judgment of me than I have of me. I would agree that she probably should. From her subjective assessment, she probably thinks I'm a great provider. She thinks I'm a great father. She thinks I take care of all of my responsibilities and duties. She can 100% trust me. So she probably has this really high value judgment of me. But when I'm doing an actual assessment of me, like Andrew Wilson, the person, and my looks and how it's reflected outwards to other people, right? I'm adding this value, this value, this value, this value, this value, like a mathematical formula to come up with that equals 4. What are you doing to come up with that other than I just think that we should have high self-esteem so that because I just think so.
All right, folks, let's break that down because the lack of self-awareness here is actually staggering. First, you have to appreciate the Andrew Wilson trap. By rating himself a 4, Andrew completely disarms the ego argument. He's telling the truth. He's a married, older guy who smokes. He knows he's not the standard of male beauty. But by being humble and objective, he exposes just how detached the guests are. But did you catch the Misty 10 logic? Her entire metric for being a 10 is simply that she decided she was one. When Andrew asks for the actual criteria she used to reach that number, her answer is literally, I just think that in general we should think that we are great. This is the core of the disagreement. If a 10 is just a feeling and has zero to do with how the external world perceives you, then the scale is completely broken. It's like calling yourself a champion without ever playing the game. Andrew's checkmate moment was the distinction between his wife's view and the world's view. He can accept that his wife sees him as a 10 subjective assessment while still knowing that, logically, he's a 4 objective assessment. The guests at the table literally cannot separate their internal confidence from their external value. As Andrew puts it, if you have nothing to compare a standard to, you can say anything, but that doesn't make it based on anything objective. If you are enjoying this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us to keep producing more of these. Now let's get back in.
Because I know I'm a good person. Because frankly, if we want to get aesthetic, I don't have a busted face. I'm fat. And if people want to reduce my value because of my fatness, that's not my problem. And that is not the ideology I hold for myself. I am someone who is pursuing weight loss, not for aesthetics, not for looks, but for my health. And it is something I'm moving forward with because I have been for the past 2 to 3 years now working on my self-love and loving myself into a place to care enough about myself to take my health back into control. When I was being consistently shamed when I was gang stalked on r/fat people hate in 2015, when I have
Looks like it works.
I'm still speaking.
I mean, it looks like it works.
I'm still
right?
speaking.
It
and
works because you're going to
you know,
change.
you're really great at over talking and being disrespectful, and I'd love the opportunity to get my point across.
Okay, but so just to cut in here a little bit, the original question was rate your looks because
Yeah.
you mentioned your personality. You have a great personality or whatever it is.
And like I said, my fatness doesn't devalue me.
Why?
So I'm an 8.
Why doesn't it?
Because I think that fat
Because you
can be beautiful. It's my assessment of my looks, right?
Yeah, but why
okay.
is it that your own
Why ask
assessment
her
of
to
your
tell her
looks
that her
has
perception's wrong?
nothing to do with how the external world perceives you? That's my
Because
problem.
I don't give a
But how
shit.
can you
Right, because you don't
decide?
care, so there's no
I
real
don't care
value
about,
judgment.
I don't care about other people's
how can
opinion
you-
of
how
me.
can
It's
you
not
speak
more
for
important
the
than the
rest
opinion
of
of
the
I hold of
world?
myself.
Yeah,
and
it
if
is.
If you don't live that way, that sucks for you.
If there's a value judgment of how you would self-assess your own looks, the only possible conceivable metric I could even think of would be the perception of how other people view you for your value judgment
And
of
I
how
was in a
you look.
relationship for
How would
almost
you
8
know
years with
about
someone
that,
who
though?
thought my
How would you-
body
how could he-
was
how could
the
you ever
most
come up with a
beautiful
metric?
thing
But
he had
that's what I'm saying,
ever
you
seen.
decided that was perceptive.
And
You
he
just
had told me
decided
that
those are the things that you
more
were gonna
often
hold
than
her.
not.
Go ahead.
He had told me that more often
Wait,
than
can
not.
you speak, sir, into
Yeah,
the-
he had told me that more often than not. I have been pursued by many men who think I am gorgeous and beautiful. That perception exists whether you have it or not.
Okay, so assume for a second. I can assume inside of, like, I can envision a world where you're the only human being who's inside of the world.
And guess what? I'll
And
never
if
be
you're
the only one who thinks I'm
if
hot,
you're-
and I know that bugs the shit out of you.
If you're
dude.
the only human being who's inside of a
Because of
world,
his own
I can
low
perceive.
self-esteem opinion.
I can perceive that I can come up with whatever metric I want for myself because I have nothing to compare it to. So if I have nothing to compare it to and I have nobody else's value judgment, then I can say I'm the most beautiful person who's ever lived, and that would be true. But if I have
asked
the
us all
value
opinions.
judgment of hundreds of millions of people
What do
to
you mean?
compare the standard to, and I know that I'm below that threshold and just decide that I'm above that threshold anyway,
I'm not the only
that's not
person who
based
makes
on
that
anything
decision.
objective. You're just making shit up.
No, I'm
Literally
not,
asked us
babe.
our opinion. So yes, it was a made-up opinion from us.
Yeah, it is. For sure.
Yeah, but
It's
that
way
was the point.
overstated
That
what's
was the
true.
point. The only person who's not happy
Your
about that is you.
perception of your truth is not the same for myself or,
Thank you.
or
Amen,
anyone
have a
else.
back.
Yeah, what is truth in a world
And
that
also,
you're
and,
an
on
eight?
what societal standards in which country?
I must
In
bug the
every
shit out of
country
you.
on planet Earth, she's not an
Respectfully-
eight.
Wait, what?
You're ridiculous.
I don't-
It's ridiculous.
Listen, in
So
different
let's
places,
be
different
nice.
people
Let's
like
keep
different
things
things.
Yeah, he's so combative, bro. It's wild.
Well,
He gets very upset and then he
I
turns
live,
his
I
face.
live in
mad at me,
reality.
bro.
Do you know what
And
reality
that
is?
is the bottom line here, and I've been respectful. We're how many
It's not
hours in?
disrespectful. I'm just telling you what's true.
Oh, what was
I think
the
it's
what
like
was the
the
flip up about me
energy.
being a mother, bro?
that
the
was
energy
me.
you put towards it.
That was
Bruh.
me
Guys,
being
let's,
able to.
No,
It's
I'm not.
interesting- it's
I'm not
interesting to
gonna. I have
claim-
been taking it respectfully for hours now.
But to be fair, also, it's interesting to claim to be so religious and so close to Jesus and be so negative.
To tell the truth.
No, I'm just saying, just to be so
What would
negative.
Jesus do? He'd
He
be
would
like,
tu-
"You're a 10,
he would literally
sweetheart.
turn the other
Forget
cheek.
objective
He would
reality."
turn the other cheek.
If I believed
He
in
would
Jesus,
turn the
he
other
would love
cheek.
me as one of God's children.
Yes.
He would have known that
Yes.
it's my
Your
journey and my
negativity is
life.
But he would know
embarrassing
you're
to the
fat too,
religious
whether he
claim that
loves
Yeah,
you or not.
and you know what? Being fat is not bad.
Yeah, it's embarrassing though to
And
claim
that's
the
the
religion you
fundamental
have.
disagreement we
which
have.
is how
So we just witnessed a total breakdown of logic. The guest literally admits that she's basing her looks on the fact that she doesn't give an F about external perception. But then, in the very next breath, she tries to validate her looks by mentioning an 8-year relationship and many men who think she's gorgeous. So, which is it? Either external perception doesn't matter, or it's the very thing you're using to prove you're a 10. You can't have it both ways. Andrew's point here is the knockout blow. He explains that if you were the only person on Earth, you could call yourself a 10 and it would be true because there's no standard. But we live in a world with billions of people and established standards of beauty. Just deciding you are above the threshold doesn't make it an objective fact. It makes it, as Andrew says, made up number. And then comes the final pivot, the Jesus's argument. When logic fails, they try to weaponize Andrew's religion against him, claiming that because he's a Christian, he should basically just agree that she's a 10 because she's a child of God. And Andrew's response hit the nail on the head. Telling the truth isn't being negative. Reality doesn't care about your feelings. And as he points out, no matter what country you're in, the standards of reality don't change just because they make you uncomfortable. This wasn't a debate about hate. It was a debate about whether words like truth and value actually mean anything anymore. That's it for today, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.